I had a misfire. The whole point of today was supposed to be doing a chat so I could read your comments and try and chat back and forth with you guys. And the chat box didn't load. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, there we go. So hello to our friend Dave, Nitrous Diecast. Dave, I was thinking about the other day. We really need to get together with Bob and with Bill and everybody and go grab coffee or go somewhere for lunch one of these days. Feathered Life says, hi, Alex. Hello. Hi back at you. What I was saying before is that Melissa isn't with me tonight because she has connected with some of her best friends from high school, and they are having a girls' night, and I don't know what they're doing. Probably whooping it up. She's having fun and hanging out with her friends, her best friends from high school. And I am here. I took the kids out for supper tonight. They're upstairs playing video games and stuff, and I thought, well, you know what? What better opportunity to chat than right now? Let's do it. So here we are. Boy, I got a question already. Okay, so S24 asks, hi, Alex. Hello, Alex. Any plans for you and the family to travel over to the UK in the future? At least myself, yes. I'd like to go to the UK at some point, even on my own. I'd like to go up to Northumberland or Newcastle upon Tyne, where my family originated, going back to, I think we've traced them back there to almost the 1300s. So I would like to go back and see where the Archbold family came from. So at some point, yeah. Kelly says, I don't want to watch without Melissa. Well, she's here in spirit, trust me. Do you do Jimmy Buffett songs? I have not. I heard he passed away, sadly. I have Jimmy Buffett style Hawaiian shirts, but I don't have a bunch of Jimmy Buffett music in the playlist. Our friend Bill says, hello, Alex. How are you? Alex is doing pretty good. What is my Chinese zodiac? What am I, Sagittarius? Is that what? Oh, no, your horse. I think I was born in the year of the horse. Melissa would probably say I'm as stubborn as a horse, but okay. I guess I didn't answer some questions from the last video I put out, which was about that pool house. A lot of people have a lot of opinions about that, and I'll answer a couple questions. One is somebody said, "Is there not a place to sleep out there?" The couch that we put in is actually a hide-a-bed, and it folds out into a bed. You know how hide-a-beds work. I don't know why I'm explaining how a hide-a-bed works. I'm sure you guys know how that works. The big reason why there's no shower in that space is that that pad and the plumbing were done prior to us, which means I had to work with pre-existing plumbing, and there was not a shower plumbed in, and the concrete was already poured. So when you have a slab like that, all your pipes and your fittings and everything are already done beforehand. Where they had planned to do the shower was actually where my garage side is, and because I wanted to have that garage for sorting space, I couldn't fit a shower in there. I know, I would have liked to have had a shower out there, but unfortunately, that's not in the cards. Plus, we have a really small hot water tank, but that's okay. They can just walk across. Look, it's right there. They can just walk over here and have a shower. Brad says, what's your method of selling large amounts of inventory? What's your relationship with auction houses? That is where I've gone mainly to sell stuff lately, is through an auction house. And the reason I do that is that I don't want to be sitting on stuff here. I don't want to warehouse things. In fact, I don't want to warehouse anything. I'm not interested in that at all. So we are trying really hard to just get stuff directly to an auction house. And generally I'll try and store stuff there until I have enough to do my own sale, and then we'll do a big sale and get rid of it there. Do you guys have audio, by the way? Can you guys hear me all right? Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Let's see. Love the color of the refrigerator. I'm undecided about it and the color of the wall behind it. If you have second thoughts about the two colors together. Oh, no, it's fine. You'll see there's the final video is coming out in about 4 days or so, and you'll see how it all turned out. It turned out pretty good. Sherry at the lake says, hi, Alex. Did the antique shop owner in Maui ever get back to you about the footage you had taken in his shop? No, he did not. But I'm hoping he had a good inventory of some kind so he knew exactly what he had. I imagine for insurance or for year-end inventory, they would have had to keep track of it. So maybe he's okay, but no, they've not reached back out to me just yet. Let's see. Stephen is done high school. Yes. So Allentown Gal says, is Stephen done high school? Yes, he graduated. He was accepted into university, but the class he wanted to take, he was accepted into, and then it got overfilled, and they put him in something completely different that he didn't even want to go in. So he applied for initially his BFA, And they accepted him, and he was getting all geared up and ready for that. And then about a week before school started, they said, whoops, we accidentally sent that out by mistake. So we put you in the Bachelor of Arts honors program, which is fine if he had any interest in that, which he didn't. So he's decided to take some time between now and October, when we will reapply for university for him, to A, get a part-time job, but also B, he's upgrading his sciences, and he's decided to take environmental science instead. So Stephen has changed it, and better, he decides now that he wanted to take something different than after you've done a full year of university and had to switch it then. So yeah, he's going to be reapplying soon, and hopefully he'll get in with what he wants. But he has his first job interview on Tuesday, and he's only ever worked for Dad or worked volunteering at a community hall where Melissa works. So this will be his first potential job. So really excited about that. And Gerald says, any news on your TV show? I hadn't heard anything from them in quite some time. In fact, I thought, well, maybe they've decided not to go ahead with it. However, they just wrote me about an hour ago and said that they wanted to do a conference call with me on Monday morning, and get things firmed up. So it looks like it is moving ahead. And I don't know filming dates or anything like that yet, but it looks like it's still going to happen. So I wasn't sure what was going to happen there. Hello from Alaska, and our friend Andy, who actually met me here in Edmonton. Andy is traveling around the world in his 4x4 diesel Land Rover. I think it's a Defender. Andy, you can correct me. He says he's in New Mexico right now, but he's doing a world trip and has a YouTube channel. So Andy, please feel free to put your YouTube channel in here. I think it's Andy 4x4, but very nice gentleman, and I had a chance to meet with him this summer. Pamela says, Stephen's a fine young man, will be successful at any endeavor. I hope so too, and I believe in all my kids. How's Chewy doing? Chewy is, Chewy's Chewy. I let him out today, and usually he just kind of flops down on the deck and just sits in the sun. But I looked out, and he was just hightailing at full tilt after a squirrel earlier today. So he did not catch the squirrel, thankfully, because Melissa has made pets of almost all of them. But Chewy is good. I don't know where he is. He's walking around here somewhere doing dog stuff. Our dog, incidentally, doesn't know how to play fetch properly. I think like a normal dog will bring you something right to you, and then you throw it and they bring it back. Our dog will leave things in random places and then bark at you to go find it and then throw it. So it's kind of like a game of hide and seek with the dog. Like, what do you want me to, every day, this is our routine. The dog looks at you and he's like this. You're like, what do you want? And you're like, okay. What, you want me to throw your toy? Where's your toy? And then he doesn't have the toy and you have to go find it. And you're like, oh, you want this? And he's all excited. And then you throw it and he goes and he attacks it and he brings it kind of near you, and then he'll schnurf it off the couch onto the floor. He's like, it's like he's teaching us to play fetch. So that's what our routine is with the dog right now. Pamela says it was amazing watching Jason help with putting things together. Yeah, Jason was a big help. Assembled the cabinets, assembled the furniture. He played a really big role in getting a lot of that pool house, I guess. It is really a sorting space with kind of a little occasional use area there, but he did a lot of great work over there. Create and Play with Renee says, do you have a local Ukrainian contact for couch and love seat? I have for them. I wrote them not that long ago, and they are pretty established now. All the help that we gave those particular 14 or 15 families, they are good. A lot of them have jobs. They've got a house full of furniture, so they're good. There is a what they call a Ukrainian store in Edmonton where you can drop things off and they can pick things up for free. So I'd recommend reaching out to them and then seeing if you can drop stuff off for them. But very nice of you to think about helping some folks out. Let's see. So I think somebody said, what's the longest drive I've done? Is that what I'm trying to remember what your question was, because it went by so fast. I feel like somebody said, what's the longest trip that you've done to go get something? But maybe you can repeat your question and I'll see if I can find it there. Jill says, thanks for the help with the Who Live at Leeds album. Yes, I've seen those albums before. She has a Who Live at Leeds album, and in that album, it actually came with a bunch of paperwork inside that looks like it's, contracts from the Who and stuff. And it was sort of a special thing. They put in a certain number of them. But if you didn't know better, it looks like real signatures and real paper. You're like, why would this be in here? So although it's a good album, unfortunately those pieces weren't as rare as we were hoping. It would be nice to have original contracts for the Who playing at stadiums and stuff, but that was just a special thing that they put in those. But it was my pleasure. I was hoping I'd have better news for you than that, but you know, there we go. She said, I thought I was rich. I was hoping you were rich too. You hate to be the one to pop somebody's balloon. Let's see. When can we expect another song from me? At some point. I was playing guitar a little bit today, and really I just want to reconnect by listening to music again. Music is a big part of my life, and I haven't been listening as much as I want to lately. The question was just asked, how did you get into the whole treasure hunting, reselling things? For me, it's just what the family does. I got into, you guys have probably heard this, every opening I say I started buying and selling antiques since I was about 9, and that's true. The part that I don't put in there is that I started buying and selling antiques since I was 9 because, my folks were having a bit of a rough go paying bills, and I wanted to contribute. And so I would go and rake leaves, I would go and shovel snow, and I would go to garage sales and find specifically old toys like old Hot Wheels and Dinky Toys and Corgi that I could maybe clean up or repaint and then resell. And in some cases, that would end up helping my folks out with taking care of rent or, I think it was maybe grade 7 or 8. I had bought and sold enough stuff that I actually got my folks a car, a 64 Buick. Unfortunately, we weren't able to hang on to the car. It definitely, that period of my life taught me that, I could either sit back on my hands and let life happen to me, or I could take the wheel myself and try and steer my own ship. And that's what I've done. But so I started off having a legitimate interest in history, but really just wanted to help my folks out. And the way I look at antiques now, many of you watch and see that I try not to keep a whole lot of stuff. Yes, I like old cars and things like that, but none of the things that I own, none of the possessions that I have are really important to me at all. What matters to me the most is making sure that my family's taken care of, making sure that my kids are taken care of, and beyond that, you have fun when you can, because life is awfully short and you should have fun if you can. It was out of necessity and an interest, of course, and now it's just kind of in your blood. I've been doing it so long that I can't go anywhere without seeing value. When we were on vacation, somebody had a beautiful little vase, and I went, well, that's a valuable vase that's sitting there, and I don't think that they know what they have, but there it sat, and you kind of see things wherever you go. Bim says, how is your sister and Hans? I don't even know if Heather's met Hans, but Heather's good. I just talked to her. She just started a new job not that long ago. And Hans is good. We're supposed to go for coffee when he gets back into town too. So hopefully we'll see him soon. And my new brother Steve, he's also in Denver, so we got to visit with him last time I was down there. Let's see, whatever happened to the Volkswagen bus? You mean the really old one, or the one that I did the interior in, the Westphalia? Because I still have the Westphalia. That's at the shop. I had the motor done in it, and then it basically broke down after a week, and it's been in the shop for the past year. So I still do have the Westphalia. It's just in the works right now. If you plan on housing guests in the pool, where will they sleep? Is there a sleeping sofa or something? Yeah, the sofa that we have is a hide-a-bed. It's a sofa bed, so it's fine. We've already had, actually, spoiler alert, we've had people stay out there already, because although you're watching the videos right now, it's actually been done for a little bit, and it's been used by company, and they've said good things. It's not like we have a review system, but it seemed like it was comfortable and they liked it, and all good. Have you sold many of the cars you got from your estates, or have you kept most of them? No, I pretty much every car that I got from an estate, it wasn't something I was expecting to get. You hear that when you buy somebody's property, sometimes, excuse me, sometimes there is a car involved. We did just sell the Miata. That did just sell, I think about 3 days ago or so. That car is now going to a new home. Jason kept the Ford Escape from the last house, from the house that we found all the silver coins and stuff in. That is now his daily school commute vehicle, and it's turning out to be a very good vehicle. So out of all the cars I've had at Estates, the only one that I've kept is the one for my son Jason. Beyond that, everything else is gone. And if some of you might say, oh, well, Steven said he really liked the Miata. Yes, Steven has a car to drive. He's got a little Mini that he drives to school. And he really liked the Miata, but I want my son to appreciate wanting or liking something like that. But I also want him to know the value of working hard to earn something like that too. So I did let him drive it for the summer, but we needed garage space because I'm doing crazy weird things, which you'll see coming up in future episodes here. So it was time for the Miata to go. Melissa is fine. She's out visiting her friends and having a good time. So Bandana Graham asked, where's Melissa? Is she not well? No, she's fine. She's just out having fun. She's got about 4 or 5 friends that she was very close with in high school. And they've been doing girls' night, I think every second Friday or something like that. They try and get together and reminisce and hang out. So she's off doing that. I went on an adventure with one of my friends, with my own friend. You know, I have a few. I think when you get to this age, you end up having just a few good lifelong friends. And I went with my good friend Scott, and we drove down to Calgary and looked at the most amazing car collection I've ever seen in my life. I couldn't film it, but I did end up getting a vehicle from this fellow, which is a really cool vehicle. That video is yet to happen because as I sit, that car is still in Calgary. I've not picked it up yet, although I paid for it. Waiting on a couple things to get done to it, and then I'm going to try driving it back. So episode to come on that. But yeah, I've been super busy. Let's see. When is Steven going to put up another video? Hopefully soon. Let's see. Cassie says, I realize when your videos stop, it means you're away on some adventure or something. I've been trying to pace out the videos, basically one a week or maybe a couple a week. When I do a big house clear out, I try and do every 3 days or so, I'll have a video out. But the pace of that right now, I want to be present for my children. I want to be present for my wife, and you know, it was important for us to go on holidays and have family time together. And so I really generally start to ramp things up around fall and through winter when I'm not as required around here. And so that's when, you know, the storage units and house clear outs and all that stuff will kick in again. But yes, I was busy, and there are weekly videos coming out soon here. And I did go to Colorado, and there's a whole series of stuff coming out there, which I hope you guys like. Randy says, how many cars or trucks do you currently own? It's like 8, I think. If I count the kids' cars, it's something like 8 vehicles. But I'm not planning on keeping them all. I'm actually starting to get rid of some stuff right now. Let's see. Do you plug up before? Let's see. It is a lot of hard work. Yes, it is. And I saw a lot of people saying, I'd like to see another house clear out video. That will happen. Trust me, it always happens. Without fail, I get called to do these things when it's the coldest part of the year, because that's when they don't want to do it. So that's when likely I'll get called to do another house clear out is when that's going to happen. But I haven't been pursuing them like crazy lately because I've been really busy doing other stuff. I've been busy doing summer stuff, visiting family, spending time with family, and going off and doing those sort of adventures. Brent says, are you doing more work on the Ferrari soon? Brent, the Ferrari, I've actually been driving that car pretty much all summer long. It's roadworthy. I took it in for a safety inspection, and they gave me this big laundry list of stuff that had to get done to it. And I brought it back home, and I did all the work myself, and I took it in, had it re-inspected, and it passed. So I did tie rods, ball joints, sway bar. Right now I have the wheels off it, and they're getting repainted, and I'm gonna get new tires on. But really, it doesn't need a whole lot. It's actually a very decent driving vehicle right now. So yeah, probably a video coming on that before too long. Let's see. Have you ever been interested in Lord of the Rings or things like that? Well, I like the movie series. I did not read the books, so I know that's where you need to be. But let's see. Oh, somebody says I see a reflection behind you of a basketball court. No, I don't. That's our those are our lights that you're seeing in the reflection. But we do have a basketball net out front, and I was actually just playing basketball with Abigail and Jason just prior to coming on this live feed. So yeah, I was out with the kids. Gosh, I am basically just trying to get myself all geared up for what the next year is going to hold, because I don't know what it's going to. I don't know what's going to happen this coming year. Carrie says, "Do you still sing yet?" Yes, I do. In fact, and Robert says you need to do a new intro for your show. I will eventually do that. You know, I have to think about what I want to do for that. That'll come at some point. It just hasn't been a priority yet. And yeah, I actually had a very vivid dream last night that I was singing like Frank Sinatra at the top of my lungs and nailing it. And it really just kind of made me connect and remind myself that I really enjoy singing. But that's hit and miss with what people think of it on here. So I don't really do a whole lot of singing on here because I don't want people to go like, what's with this guy? I sing because I like to, and I like to listen to music with headphones on and just kind of get right into the music and into the moment. And I've been listening to a lot of, I don't know if it's Sufjan Stevens or Sufjan Stevens. Sufjan Stevens. I really like his stuff. And going back through going back through the annals and listening to like old Morrissey and then some folk music, and just kind of finding my way through a bunch of familiar music and some new music that I haven't listened to before too, and revisiting groups like Tame Impala and stuff like that. But I don't know. My voice always goes to country, so a lot of the music I'm listening to lately isn't really country music. But when I sing, it comes out either like I'm a 1940s singer, or some kind of like 50s or 60s Western singer. So it's kind of hard to adapt that to modern music. Anyway, do I like or play any sports? Lynn, funny you should ask. I played baseball almost my entire young life. From probably 5 years old to 18 years old, I played baseball, and I did a spring training camp with the AAA team. I was a pitcher, and I wasn't bad. And there was a point in my life when I was in high school where I thought maybe I could pursue that and maybe I could go that road. But I ended up wanting to go through film school instead, and I went off to go do film school and did that. Well, I shouldn't say did that. I attended for a while, and then I got a job on a movie set, and I dropped out of school and started working on set. So a little bit of post-secondary. I went back later as an adult, not that long ago, and took human resource management. And now I have my employees are me, myself, and I. So I'm my own worst boss. Do you think any of your kids will follow in your collecting footsteps? Kind of, I think so, maybe. Jason does collect things. He does have shelves with stuff on it, and he has his collection. Steven has a bit of a little coin collection going. Abigail came to me the other day, and she says, and she's never really talked cars with me at all. And she says to me, "Dad, I think I'd like to get a Porsche 911 GT3 in Meissen blue." And I'm like, "That is really specific, honey, really specific." And I said, "Okay, well, let's see how much those cars are." My gal, she has expensive taste. But I said, "That's fine. Put that on the list." I said, "What you do is you have that on write it down or put it on a list somewhere, and then you figure out the steps you have to take to get that thing, if that's something that's on your list." It's what I did when I was a kid. My list was very different when I was younger. I just wanted to be normal and have and actually have a stable house or a roof over my head. I remember wanting to have a couch at some point in my life. I had weird goals. I wanted a rolled arm camelback sofa because I saw one in a fancy house once, and I thought that was a fancy thing. And we did end up getting one. And then, your list changes and grows, and you kind of you start developing new things for your list. And Lorraine Mitchell says, "I'd like a light blue Porsche 911 too." I know Abigail has very specific taste in that. But I think maybe to answer your question, I think all of my kids will have some of those traits. But the most important thing is that I've kind of taught them that things really don't matter. And I know I'm saying this on a channel about buying and selling. but the buying and selling serves a purpose. It serves a purpose of putting a roof over my family's head. It serves a purpose of paying bills. It's my job is to buy and sell stuff. And that's why I'm always surprised when people are saying, why are you talking about these auctions that you're doing? It seems like you're just trying to sell things. Yeah, this is a channel about buying and selling stuff. I mean, amongst other things, but I mean, at the core, I started this channel because we have a business, and that is still a big part of this. A big part of this channel is to buy and sell stuff. And then I hope when I do find these things, I can either inform people on what I found or make terrible dumb mistakes, which I do all the time, and then you guys teach me what I have. There's no way any one person can know everything about everything, but I always say that I'm like a good generalist where I know a little bit about a lot of things, and I'm getting better at knowing more. So yeah, we'll keep growing together, I guess. Let's see. What's one thing you found in the storage unit that you still have to this day and that you will keep for life? In a storage unit or in a house, very, very few things. It doesn't matter if I'm keeping it for my life because we don't take anything with us. So I just look at things like we'll enjoy it for the time that it's meant to be enjoyed. Honestly, one of the things that came out of a clear out that we did was hang on, I'm gonna take you guys on a little field trip. Melissa would probably kill me because I don't have the kitchen totally cleaned up right now, but you guys remember, can you see that? The little peacock? That peacock came out of the sauna of one of the houses that we did a clear out in. And I looked at it and I thought, it's perfect. It matched the colors that Melissa wanted in the kitchen. It's just a beautiful little piece. It's just a ceramic peacock. Of all the things I found, not once have I ever wanted to hang on to bars of silver or silver coins or things like that, because what fun is it having a bunch of stuff sitting in a vault? That's why I would rather put money into something like the house. And somebody wrote on the last video that I put up, which was today, about the pool house, and they said they were miffed that I built another building on the property when we already had a big house. That's true, but I don't want to be unloading boxes and stuff in my own garage because then it gets in the way, or when in wintertime when you drive a vehicle and the slush gets off your wheels and floats over towards your pile of boxes and things can get wet or damaged. But I don't think that there's anything really better to spend money on. I don't think there's anything better to spend money on than having a nice environment for yourself or your family. And having grown up, in my childhood, we moved probably no less than 89 times, probably a lot more. By the time I moved out, we had moved about 89 times since I was born. My mom kept, in one of her notebooks I saw, and she kept track of all the addresses, and then she just kind of gave up at one point, and at that point it was like 74, and that was like about, when I was about 12 or 13. It was about 74 times since I was born. So I've had a lot of upheaval in my life. I guess I kind of, when you've had a really, not that I had a bad childhood. My parents were lovely. My parents were both very loving and nice people. But you have a lot of turmoil, I guess, and a lot of upheaval. You don't build bonds with people as easily. I find like I have a hard time remembering people's names until I've met them a few times. I don't know if that's a result of moving around a lot and thinking, well, what's the point of learning? Because I'm just going to move and forget anyway. But for my family, for my kids, for my wife, it was important for me. My kids have only lived in 2 houses their entire life. And the only reason we moved from the last one to this one is because I wanted my kids to have a bigger, like a nicer environment where they could have, this pool was great. The pool was there. The pool was basically free. Place to play basketball and a place to really just stretch out. And I envisioned down the road, maybe grandkids running around in the backyard. And it's like a family homestead kind of. So I worked really, really hard to make this happen because I didn't want my kids to have the same sort of turmoil and upheaval and lifestyle that I had when I was a kid, because it was really challenging, I'll admit. So when people, and there's always critics, of course, of everything you do, whether your placement of your doors or your placement of a couch or whatever, somebody's always going to move. But I think that I faced a lot of loss with my dad and with Melissa's dad and with doing all these estate clearouts. You can't imagine what that does to your mental state. When you're constantly just clearing out the remnants of somebody's life, you just realize that really a lot of things you think matter don't matter. And so we try and invest in experiences, and I'm trying to build a little resort here for my family. And if it means pushing all my chips across the table, Monte Carlo style, like let's bet it all on red or whatever, that's what I feel like I'm doing with the property here, is just trying to make a really great environment for the family, because their experience and those around me is more important than having stuff sitting on a shelf. Anyway. Renee says, the older I get, the more I want to make my kids take stuff now. I get it. Update on the Ferrari. Do you still own the 912? I've never actually owned a 912. I have a 911. I have a 1969 911. I still do have it. And the Ferrari is fine. Actually, if you look at the update video that I did a while back, I consolidated it all, including the ending in there. It's a longer one, but it does show the car running and driving. I've been using the vehicle. As it relates to vehicles, and I'm talking about like not wanting to have a lot of stuff, and you're probably going to say like, Alex, but you say you don't feel that things are that important, but why do you have these cars? Couple things. One is, if you're this is like an investment strategy more than anything. If you put money into a property can go up, but you're gonna have to pay property tax, you're gonna have to pay insurance, you're probably gonna have to find a tenant, you're gonna have to do maintenance on it, which is expensive on a building, your roof, your hot water tanks and all that stuff. And you're constantly worried, is something gonna happen to it? So when you put money in the bank, you're gonna earn at best in a GIC or something that's lower risk, maybe 4.5% right now. But a lot of older vehicles, if you invest properly, and if you buy them at the right price, and you're able to do a little work on them yourselves, and I'm handy in that way, where I could buy a vehicle that for not much money, that if I put a little elbow grease into, might end up being worth more, and that ends up being an investment, and it doesn't cost me all the same sort of expenses that a property would, or better interest than having it in the bank. So for me, that's simply like a fun investment, and at any point I would sell all of it and have, if we needed to do something more important. But yeah, there will be updates on all that stuff coming very soon here too. Why does Melissa call you Alexander? Okay. My name is Alexander. My family, my mom, my dad, all of my family growing up called me Alexander. And so the people who matter the most in my life, the people whom I love, the people who mean everything to me, call me by my full name, because that's what I've always been to the people who are closest to me. I'm Alex to many other people because, I don't know, I think it's more that I felt shy about even saying my own name, and that sounds stupid, but going back, this is a kid who moved around a lot and didn't have really a very stable living environment. And so when you meet somebody the first time, I was always the only Alexander. And so Alex just felt more approachable, and it was less syllables. And so I started going by Alex probably in junior high, when I probably wasn't really feeling all that great about myself. And I was kind of embarrassed, like, oh, I guess you can call me by the full name. And I guess it kind of stuck. But truthfully, to Melissa and the people around me that are really important to me, they call me Alexander, and it's just more of a sign of affection than anything. Let's see. T Cosby says, I put my house up for sale and are moving around with an RV now. Cool. That sounds like an adventure. What is your best eBay sale ever? You find such great things. I don't sell a whole lot on eBay anymore. We used to do a lot on eBay back in the 90s and early to mid 2000s. And now there is other options and other ways to go. So I can't really think of any particular thing that I did really well on eBay. There's things I recall selling on eBay for less than I should have, that I wish I kept. But now there's specialty sites like I will use a local auction house to sell individual items. I will use bring a trailer to sell cars or sell locally if I can on Facebook Marketplace. But you have to kind of move with the times because they really do change. Norma Kennedy, thank you so much for the nice comment. Let's see. Jan D says, my family called me Janice, but my friends call me Jan. See, I'm not the only one. John asks, how is the ice cream shop and other shop doing in my old building? So as you know, my old store that I owned, we built that other little ice cream parlor addition. And somebody earlier asked, like, how much money did you make off of Madam Rack's place? Well, any profits that I made off of that, I actually built the ice cream parlor. And the intention behind that was to offer something back to that neighborhood. There's a lot of kids in the area. There's an elementary school down the street. I thought, what a great spot for an ice cream parlor. So I built it to be that. We leased it to an ice cream parlor, and that's what it is to this day. They're very popular. In summer, they have lineups almost around the block. And the patio that I built with that big patio chair, it is busy beyond belief. So it's very successful. Bob Harder just says both places serve very tasty food. So both businesses that are in my old location are doing quite well. And although my store isn't in that building anymore, it is nice to know that I brought that building back from the brink. That's a lot of B words. Bought the building back from the brink. Anyway, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm talking like the guy from V for Vendetta, voraciously, viscously, anyway. So we did do that, and my initials are still in that concrete and will be probably for some time. Chris says, Alex, don't let the people talk smack. Where is it now? Yeah, it is hard sometimes to, oh gosh, they have filters on this now. I accidentally hit some button. I don't know how to get rid of it now. And it has I can put weird filters on. That's weird. Okay, I don't think I need to do that. Or do I? Look, I can make it black and white, or I can make it look like this, or I can make bubbles float around. When did this happen? When did that happen? Apparently I haven't been on YouTube enough to pay attention to this. I have no idea how to get rid of it. Oh, there we go. I got rid of it. Well, now there's a little magic wand button on this thing. I guess I could have a lot more fun than I thought I could. Okay, hang on. What else can I do? Can I give myself a top hat? That's what I really want. There's got to be something. Oh no. Oh, look, I'm like, take on me. Oh gosh. Okay, I'm going to stop playing around because I'm just going to have too much fun with that. Yeah. Anyway, there's a lot of different filters on there. I could just sit here if I didn't have people watching me. I would just be sitting there playing with the filters. If you guys ever see the video where the guy was on a conference call and he actually had a cat and he couldn't figure out how to turn it off. And it's just this cartoon cat face and it looks all nervous looking around and he's like, turn this off. I'm ready to proceed if you are. That was so much fun. Anyway, that's what I would be like if I had these things here anyway. B. Craig says, I just joined. Can I see the sweater? Yeah, it's my 1980s style tropical sunset sweater. It reminds me very much of a sweater I would have worn back in 87 or 88 when I was a younger person. He said, Judge, I'm not a cat. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm not a cat. He had to explain that. That was funny. Leah Work says, where's Melissa? Where indeed? Melissa's with her friends tonight. She ditched me for cooler people. Melissa had a group of friends that she was very close with in junior high and high school. And when she and I moved away, they lost touch for a little bit and they've reconnected now in the same group of girls. They get together every second Friday and Melissa's back in the group. And so she's over there hanging out with them and hopefully having a great time tonight. And although I'm missing her right now, I was able to play basketball with my kids and take them out for dinner and have a great time. So it was really just a great trip. Great trip? This is what happens when I read comments and try and talk at the same time. It was a great afternoon with the kids is what I'm getting at. Let's see. Can I put a brick wall behind me? No, I can't do that. Oh, hey, Bob Harder. Bob, what's funny? Okay, this is a Bob story. Bob is Bob Harder, aka Bob the Bottle Man, who appeared on many of my episodes. He used to hang around the store a lot. I was driving today. I was dropping the rims off for the Ferrari to get them repainted. Not as bad as I thought, like a couple $100 a wheel to get them powder coated, and it'll last like forever. Anyway, they're out there getting redone. I saw a guy who looked just like you, Bob, like had the same, when your hair gets longer, it looked just like Bob. And I thought it was Bob, I thought it was you. And I actually drove alongside really slow trying to get his attention. And then he started walking faster and faster, and he turned a corner, and then I turned the same corner. And then he started like full on sprinting, and then I saw his face and it wasn't you, and he looked really nervous. So I don't know what he thought was up, but he didn't like what was happening, that's for sure. But honestly, I just thought it was you. Could you imagine? He's watching this live feed right now. He's like, this is surreal. I didn't even know that was that YouTube guy. Which is weird now. The channel's been going on for a while, and every so often somebody does recognize me when I'm not stalking people who I think are other people. When I'm not stalking fake Bob Harders. I was just out, like I was at A&W, and in Canada A&W is, I would say, is it more common or as common as McDonald's? I don't know. They're everywhere here, and they look like a 60s sort of restaurant. And you sit down and they actually give you your meal, and you can sit down, and they got salt and pepper on the table. And you can have like breakfast at A&W. So I stopped at A&W to get breakfast. And a lot of times if somebody recognizes me from YouTube, they just walk up and they start talking like they know me. And then, you know, when somebody walks up to you and they talk to you like they know you, but you don't really know where you know them from, that's pretty much how I am all the time. I'm not impolite, but they're like, oh, hey, Alex, how's it going? And I'm like, oh, hey, you. Watch, it'll be somebody I actually know. But usually I just go, oh, I'm great. You know, I hope you're having a fantastic day. And if they say they watch a channel, usually this is how it goes. I'll be like doing generic normal thing, like buying groceries or whatever. And somebody will be like, hey, you're that YouTube guy. And I'm like, oh, hey, yeah, that's right, I am. And then I'll say like, I really appreciate that you watch a channel. And then they'll be like, oh yeah, I watched, you know, you clear out hoarder houses and stuff. And I'm like, that's so cool. And so usually we have a chat, and then I'm like, well, I hope you have a fantastic day. Or, you know, have a little conversation or whatever. And so today the guy said, Alex, good to see you, pretty much. And then he gets in his car, and I'm like, oh, yeah, good to see you too. But I was like, I don't think I've ever seen him before, but maybe I have. I don't know. I guess I'll never know unless they reappear down the road. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of look at it like really, I'll put this in perspective. And somebody said, see, you're famous. No, having one guy who I probably know from not YouTube say hi to me, that just means remember I said I'm bad with names? Maybe I did know that guy, and I just don't know that I know him. Anyway, I see like what I do is I'm very fortunate that I took that fork in the road when I did. A lot of you guys, and I don't want to beat, it was such a weird expression, beat a dead horse. Whoever did that? Why would you beat a live horse? And why would you beat a dead horse? And how often did that happen to become an expression? Anyway, somebody on here is going to tell me where the expression came from. They'd be like, well, in medieval England, they'd beat the dead horse to make sure the glue fell out, or whatever you're going to say. Anyway, I don't mean to beat a dead horse here, but I feel very fortunate that I was able to quit my job, go into a massive amount of debt, which frankly took years to recover from. Melissa and I lived well below our means for a really long time, because I would take every spare dollar I had and I'd put it on our house. That meant, you know, not buying clothes for years and years and years for myself, and, you know, selling anything that I might have mildly thought was cool. But we basically, when I had a normal job, which wasn't that long ago, 7 or 8 years ago now, I just basically took every dollar I had and I paid as much as I could down towards the principal of my house. And then when I decided to walk away from that, I took out a loan, which was the anti-thing I wanted. I was trying to save money. I wasn't trying to get into debt. And that's the money we used to open the store. And I'm glad that it worked out. Trust me, there's not a day goes by where there's an expression called imposter syndrome, where you don't feel that you deserve the things that you have. And very often I feel undeserving of whatever I've been able to build for myself, but I'm grateful for it. And I'm grateful for every day that I get to have my kids here in this house with me. And I know that YouTube could just disappear at any point. Sometimes you say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, or maybe YouTube decides they don't monetize anymore, whatever. Things can happen. And so we're trying very hard to make wise decisions so that I don't have to completely rely on hustling with the buying and selling and the YouTube as much as I do right now. But yes, I'm very, very grateful for life taking the turn that it has. Chris says, I get it, Alex. Sometimes you wake up and you're like, this is my life. I can't tell you, when I was a little kid and I would look through like old Cars and Parts and Hemmings magazines, and I'd look at the cars that I now have in the garage, it still feels, I have a mental disconnect where I can't get too excited about good things because I'm just afraid it's going to disappear. And that sounds so stupid. That sounds so silly. But I don't, I have a disconnect from stuff that I don't feel I am privy to, or that I don't belong to. And I was thinking the other day that, I worked so hard and for so long, and really only the past 5 or 6 years things started to really move, the needle started to really move for us. But I'm just looking at it, trying to enjoy every day that I have. And just really honestly grateful for all this and for all the wonderful people, so many of you that are on this channel too. But the things that matter most right now, gosh, I mean, I really, there are things that I would like to do that I don't know how to do. Such as, try and find a way to, if I could find a way to end homelessness in the world, I would love to do that. And I think about that, and it's such an overwhelming demand that it feels like every step you take, it doesn't feel like it's ever enough. And we've been able to help people out, between myself and also you guys at home who've able to help out when we do these GoFundMes and we direct the resources towards helping families. Incidentally, for all of you that did help out with the GoFundMe for the Ukrainian families, know that they are not in need anymore. They are self-sustaining, that those families have jobs and they have a roof over their head and their kids have a bed to sleep on. And that matters to me. I'm taking no credit for that, but I'm saying that this community helped 15 families this year. And that is something. And that's something more important than finding, a gold ring in the bottom of a box or emptying out a storage unit and finding a book worth $100 or something. That's the stuff that really matters to me. And so a lot of times I really try and think about what I can do, at the time when it needs to be done, if that makes sense. Trying to insert yourself into a situation at the right time and not insert yourself when it's not needed or not wanted. And I'm grateful for this channel mostly, not because it's been able to help set our lives up for the better, but that we've been able to communitively help a lot of people over the years, including Hans, including Adam, who I talk to regularly. He's doing quite well. I should go out and visit him. I was meaning to visit him actually this year. That still has to happen. And now all these families, and every year or so we're able to do something that helps out somebody. And I think that, like, if there was a resume of stuff that mattered in my life, that is the stuff that actually matters. And frankly, a lot of people don't really even care on the channel about any of that stuff. You'll help somebody, you'll help 15 families out and they'll say, yeah, but why didn't you help 16? And I have to really kind of look past those comments and know that you're not doing this to try and make that one person who's watching the video feel as though you're doing it for them. You're doing it because you're just doing it, because it's the right thing to do. And so my heart is really heavy when I see, even in our city, the homeless situation has gotten much worse in the last 3 or 4 years, and things are not fantastic. So I really don't know. I don't know how to make a big difference. I've thought about, even, do I get involved in politics to some degree and help try and set some kind of, standards in place or do something, but then, I don't think I have it in me to do that at this stage of my life right now, because we're just too busy right now. But anyway, those are things that matter anyhow. But all the other stuff is just fluff. Finding stuff is fun, and I do enjoy it. And trust me, that kid in me that kid in me I watched the Goonies in the movie theater when I was a child. And I saw kids who were a little older than me finding treasure and going on adventures, and I desperately wanted to be one of those Goonies. I definitely wanted to be looking for One-Eyed Willie's pirate treasure, you know. And I think the reason for that at that time was mostly for the adventure, but also thinking, you know, in their situation in that movie, and this seems so silly, but in that movie, those kids are looking for treasure, not for themselves, but so that their parents can keep their houses. And I thought, you know, maybe I identified with that, of the not feeling that you belong or have a place to belong or a place to really feel rested or that's yours. And so I think I just wanted to go on those sort of ventures to kind of have a normal sort of life. And that's why I really pushed so hard the past year and a half to get the house done, to develop that unbuilt pad into a space that we could use for the business, to get the lawn in, to get the road. I did everything I could. I pushed everything across the table to get that done. Because, you know, let's hope nothing happens to me, but if something does, I want to make sure that my wife and my children are taken care of more than anything. And once you have a stable foundation of your own, then you can go out and really help other people. So I'm looking at what to do next down the road. Somebody said Alex is of Ukrainian descent. I do actually have quite a bit of Ukrainian blood in me. My mom is Ukrainian, Russian, and Polish. And as it turns out, on my mom's side, there's also a little bit of Sri Lankan and Egyptian. So go figure. I guess I have a little bit of Egyptian and a little, like 3% Egyptian. We have no idea which family member that was, but I guess if you go back far enough to probably Russia or something, you'll find somebody who, you know, whose great-great-grandparent was Egyptian or something. But yeah, so I'm English, German, let's see, Polish, Ukrainian. I'm mostly Ukrainian and Polish. I'm like full on, got all the genetics from my mom's side. I'm like, I think 65% Ukrainian. So my dad didn't give me a whole lot of those genetics, but my last name is English, and my ancestors did come from Newcastle, Northumberland area. But my mom's side was all actually Galicia, which was its own country at that point when they came over. It's now part of Ukraine. So to be honest with you, I was planning a trip to Ukraine prior to everything happening over there, because I wanted to see where my family came from. And hopefully I'll have a chance to do that at some point. Somebody said good hair from mom's side. Yeah, I've not yet had to dye my hair. I am turning 45 this year, and I only have a couple little gray spots right in there. But I still have almost all my color, and I don't have, look, I got lots of hair still. So thanks, Mom, for that. Oh, Chris says, I'm a descendant of Robert the Bruce, so that's cool. I didn't find any, okay, well, there was on my mom's side a story that her family was related to one of these czars from the 1800s, but, you know, that Romanov bloodline is pretty much gone over there now. But yeah, mind you, it's funny. I was talking to Melissa's grandma, who's still with us, thank goodness. She's 94 and she's doing well, and she's living at the farm, and she's still active, very active. She had her house all torn apart, and she said, I'm just sorting everything. She was sorting everything in her whole house, like all at once. And she had a lot going on. And she said that her dad was a surgeon for the Russian army prior to World War I. He was a surgeon in Russia, a fairly high-ranking and well-to-do person. And his wife used to own, they had mills on the Volga River. And I guess they were, they were doing okay in Russia. And of course, the war happened, and then, he came over to Canada around that time when the revolution happened. But he received a pension from Russia in Canada. And the reason for that is that Tsar Nicholas's grandma was Queen Victoria, and Canada was a colony of England, and Russia was connected to England in that sense because that was his grandma. Tsar Nicholas's grandma was Queen Victoria. Did I say Elizabeth? Queen Victoria. So anyway, he had a pension from the Russian military in Canada, and people were like, "How are you getting a pension in Canada from Russia?" And they're like, "Well, that's why." Anyway, I thought that was pretty cool. And they also found jars of like Russian money on the farm when they were digging and moving stuff around, which I guess she still has somewhere, but that's pretty cool. The stories you hear. Let's see. Grace says, quite a bit of DNA from all over the place, including some royal DNA somewhere down the line. I know it's always the royal DNA that never, for me to ascend the throne in Russia, there'd have to be a King Ralph incident in England, or I don't know how that would work. Did you guys ever remember, do you remember that movie? It was, oh my gosh, it's John Goodman. And he's just like this normal American dude, and he ends up getting the throne of England because everybody died in a photographing accident. It's, you know, is it worth a watch? I don't know. If you watch it and you're like, that wasn't worth it, well, there you go. But it was an interesting plot anyway. I'll give it that. Hey, somebody says they're also a descendant of Robert the Bruce. Aw, you got distant cousins on here. Didn't even know it. Do you have a favorite company to check your DNA or Ancestry through? I used, at first I did Ancestry DNA because I felt that they had more detailed knowledge in terms of like military records and other things like that you could access. So I did Ancestry first, and that would be my first choice. When Heather and I discovered each other, we both did 23andMe because we really wanted to confirm beyond a shadow of a doubt that we were brother and sister. And so we did a second test, which confirmed that we were, in fact, brother and sister. So I would say 23andMe is good if you want to find out, like what your odds of having brown eyes are, your odds of, you know, developing certain traits are. 23andMe is better for that. But if you want to research your family tree, I think Ancestry is the better one for that. Happy Day says, would you ever do online classes on how to do what you do? I would pay for one. I don't know if there'd be a demand for that. I mean, even if there's one student, I don't think I'd feel right charging for that. I mean, I did a live stream. I did a video on my YouTube channel a while back called like how to make money buying and selling antiques. That was a really long time ago. But to do what I do, the trends shift. Like, boy, they really shift. So to stay on top of the antique trends, I think just buying and selling in general, you know, you don't have to have a degree. You don't have to, that's the beautiful thing about what I do, is that I don't need to wait to do what I do. I don't need to wait until somebody can tell me to go to a yard sale and buy something low and sell it higher, or to buy a storage unit or buy a house full of stuff and stuff. Anybody can do it. Anybody at home can do exactly what I've done in the last 7 or 8 years. And when I say that anybody can, maybe not everybody has the sort of base knowledge going into it, but what I'm saying is that anybody who is motivated to go out there, and, you know, for me, it was a situation where I would have been still at my job. I still would have been paying down my last house, and I wouldn't have had all these wonderful adventures and things happen if I wouldn't have just taken my own life into my own hands. Not taking my life with my own hands, but taking my, you know what I mean? Oh, words don't fail me now. This seems like a good time for a wine break. But, you know, the one thing I would say is that if you're interested in buying and selling antiques or anything, it's just a matter of kind of, some people just scan barcodes even and see if they find like a toy or something that dishes or whatever it might be. There's margin on everything. And the surprising thing is there's a lot of places out there where you can buy things that people just want gone and want rid of. Sometimes the space is more valuable than the thing itself. And that actually, that's kind of the situation with the car that I'm picking up out of town in the next week. I'm going to get it. Is that it is an amazing car. Trust me. It is like, it was one of those cars that I like looked at in a magazine and thought that I'd never own, that I'm about to own. But I'm getting it at a much more reasonable price because the fellow that had it has cars even more special than that, and it was taking up space. So for him, the space is more valuable than the car. And I find that with all sorts of things. That somebody passes away, they want the furniture, they want the house emptied out because the house is worth more money, they got to get it moved. So you can always find opportunity out there. It's always waiting for you. And I think one thing that stands out to me is that probably about 10 or 12 years ago, I would say, Melissa and I were quite literally down to, I think, our last $5. And, I was working and there would have been a paycheck in a couple weeks, but it was like, we had to go a couple weeks and all we had in the bank was $5. And Melissa said, let's get out of here. Let's go visit my mom out of the farm and take your mind off of things. And I was sitting there and I was feeling grumpy about it. And Melissa's mom, Marlene, said to me, she gave me a $5 bill, which doubled my net worth at that point. She gave me a $5 bill and she said, you're pretty crafty. Why don't you run into town and see if you can make something out of this $5 bill? And so I went into town and I found a secondhand store, and there were, I'm sure I've told this story before, and I apologize if I'm repeating myself to some of you, but I was feeling depressed. I had $5 in my hand, and then it kind of switched in my head of, well, what can I do with this? What can I do with this $5? And so I'm looking around the store and there's 2 headrests for a car on the ground. Now you wouldn't think a headrest for a car is worth anything, but these were period accessories for a 1950s Volvo PV544. Don't ask me how I knew that, but I knew that. Well, actually you can ask me because I owned one of those cars before and I knew what they were. I also knew that they were really expensive to buy because I wanted to buy some and I didn't have the money to buy it. And so I took the $5 and I said to the lady, how much do you want for these headrests? She said $10. And I said, listen, all I got is $5, but I would buy these off you for $5. She says, sure, $5. And so I put them on eBay. I did put those on eBay, and they sold for $375. And I thought, maybe there's something in this buying and selling stuff that even when you're down to your last $5, you can take that and you can multiply it and do better. And yes, I paid my mother-in-law back since then. But I think of that moment where every time I feel like I'm having a day, when you have one of those days and you feel like, things aren't going right, or it feels hopeless, or feels like you're just treading water and you can't get ahead. Everybody gets those days. And when I get those days, I have to remember that story and I have to remember those moments and I have to try and get myself motivated. Where it's just like, you know what? Let's shake this off. You got to shake this off. Let's find something productive to do. And whether it's, I'm going to repair something that needed repaired, or I'm going to go organize something, or sometimes, you just want to do something that makes your life better. I always remember that because I want to try and make sure that I'm as productive as possible. If I lost everything I have right now, I would probably do a YouTube channel on what it's like to lose everything and start over again. There's always something to talk about. There's always something to do, and there's always some way of trying to get yourself ahead. And I know I posted it on my Facebook page for those of you that watch my Facebook, but I was reading and they say that, the odds of you being conceived are 1 in 400 trillion. And then you think of all your ancestors that had to make it through diseases, cholera, and the Black Plague, and wars and battles, and my ancestors had to traipse their way from England across America into the Dakotas in the 1800s, which was like not the easiest place to homestead, and somehow they made it, and somehow I'm here. Oh, Cindy Red Deer sent $5. Thanks, Cindy. She said the hardest part is finding the right buyer for the thing you want to sell. Yes, thank you for that. It is. It's a reminder to me that my family had to go through so many hardships and so much to be able to get to where I'm at right now, and it makes me feel like I really have a lot to do with my life. And I wake up every morning and I think about how can I be as productive as possible with this day? What can I do with the day that's ahead of me? And honestly, sometimes it's just little, like today was checking a lot of stuff off the list, like washing the floors, or, doing dishes and laundry. And, sometimes there's just little things you want to check off your list, repairing things. So no matter what it is, you just try, if you wake up every morning, and I always tell my kids this too, it's make your bed. And it's not because I'm just like, a stickler for it, but I think that when you're setting your environment up to be as clutter-free and as organized as possible, then your mind is equally as organized and you can really think your way through a day. And it starts with making your bed, as silly as that sounds. And some of you might say, what's the point of making your bed? You're just gonna make it messy again.
I like to know that I go back to a room that is uncluttered. And I like to know that when I revisit that room throughout the day, that it doesn't, it would bother me to no end if I walked into my bedroom throughout the day and the bed wasn't made. I'd be thinking about it no matter what I'm doing. If I'm driving down the highway, I'd be thinking that bed isn't made. I might have something wrong with me. Apparently my niece Alyssa is the exact same way, where we can't actually move on from something. Like if there's a dinner mess, I'm instantly clearing the plates. Sometimes while people are still eating off of it, I'm like that guy who's like, are you done with your plate? I mean, I feel like a waiter in my own home sometimes, but that's because I just can't rest until something's completed and done. But anyway, start off your day right. Try and make yourself as productive as possible is how I look at things. And then you have big goals that you're aiming for, and then you have little goals you're aiming for. Any ghost stories that happen throughout your journey? No, I've got the spooks real bad in a couple places, but not seen anything weird other than Patrick the ghost. Let's see. Yeah, the least of these says, great, now you're going to think about I'm going to be thinking about my messy bed every day. You know, it's just one of those things. Why have that clutter on your mind? I like to declutter my mind as much as possible because trust me, there's too much rattling around up in there that falls out at inopportune moments. I think it's a good... so Lorraine Mitchell says her daughter is organized and clean to the extent of OCD. I wouldn't say that I have OCD, but I like things in their place. I like things organized. I like things tidy. I don't like, if a piece of furniture gets chipped or broken, I will fix and repair it pretty much in minutes. And I think that's a good combination for what I do. I'm pointing at my fingers for some reason because I'm constantly out buying stuff. And if I didn't have this personality, it would very quickly become a hoarding situation in my own home. And so it basically, I think it balances itself out, that if I had one trait and not the other, it would probably be, I don't know, it could be a problem. If I had the desire to buy and search and dig through stuff as much as I do and not the desire to sell it as equally as much, it could become a problem. But no, when you guys were asking earlier of all the things that we've had in houses that we've kept, very little. Sometimes we found a bunch of really nice pots and pans that were better than ours. Like if it's going to help things that we need around the house and it's going to make it better, then we'll keep that. Like the last house I cleared out a while back, there was all sorts of brand new Henkel knives, chef sets and forks and knives, brand new KitchenAid. They were Henkel pots and pans, like Teflon pots and pans. So we didn't add it to our collection. We actually just upgraded the stuff we had with it. So, but generally, I don't bring a whole lot of stuff home. Eileen's like this sweater. I got this sweater at a store called Simon's. And Simon's is a funny store. This sweater wasn't very expensive. It is, I don't know if you can kind of see, it's palm trees and stuff. They have really cool, interesting stuff for fair prices, but then right next to it, you could have like a Versace shirt for like $1,000. Right next to an equally cool shirt that's $29.99. And so I can tell you which department I shop in, and it's not the expensive department, but I do like that store because they have interesting stuff. Let's see, where's Melissa? She's with her friends. Melissa is with her friends this evening. She's having a girls' night out, and they are having fun. And I think, to be honest with you, they are drinking wine and playing Mario Kart, I should say. So she is like living like a teenager for tonight, and good for her. She needs to do that every once in a while. I saw you on Maui. I just moved here a few years ago. Never thought that would happen. Oh, you should have said hi. If you saw me in Maui, that would have been awesome to say hi to somebody. We've been shooting videos kind of in advance and scheduling them just for that reason, that we can kind of live our life and do things, and it's not as much of a stretch, or not. I shouldn't say a stretch. It's not as intimidating to think I have to do a video every couple days or so. Oh, Gary says, how high is your comic going to go? It's at 21 grand so far. And we didn't update on your Volkswagen bus. Okay, I'll address the comic book situation. When we sold off a lot of our store inventory, I'll put it this way: I don't own the comic book. My business owns the comic book as an investment. So before you think Alex personally has a $20,000 comic book, I don't. The store does. I took some of the store money and invested in that comic book. But that comic book is actually worth substantially more than that. So it does have a long way to go. That auction is happening at the end of this month, and it will be one to watch for sure. So yeah, it's exciting. I'm not excited quite yet because it's not at a profit standpoint yet, but it does have a long way to go. As for the Volkswagen bus, there is a video coming out in a few days, and there is a Leah McGrew says yes, she has an ancestor that was had some real challenges in the Wild West. Yeah, it was very difficult in the Wild West, absolutely. My Volkswagen bus, my Westphalia, the yellow one that I have, I still own it. I did the interior in it, which I did a video for. It was really trashed and I made it look really nice. To be honest with you, the interior in that bus is like perfect. It's in a rust-free condition, which is very rare to find a Volkswagen bus without any rust. It doesn't have any rust. I was getting it prepped for paint, and then the transmission and the engine blew on the same day, and it's been in the shop for over a year now, and I'm waiting for them to get it back to me, and then it'll go in for paint, and then I will have that back. But I've been playing around with other stuff, and you'll see. I've been keeping myself busy for sure. For those of you that have been waiting for an automotive related video, why did I say that all weird? Automotive, like I put dashes or commas in between. I'm starting to talk like Captain Kirk and speaking weird. Yeah, anyway, there's some car videos coming out. Let's see. I've been able to watch you and the family grow up together all these years. Oh, yeah, Rick Spector. You know, one thing, Rick, I missed your call. Rick used to phone me at the store and say hello. He's just the nicest man. And are you kind of in the, I can't remember if it's Oregon that you're in, like Vancouver, Oregon, or where it is that you're at. I feel like it's up the West Coast, and I apologize, Rick, because we chatted about it, and I believe you had like a dune buggy or something really cool. But Rick used to phone the store and chat, and that is the one thing I miss the most about the store is actually just socializing. Washington, yeah, okay. And I had driven up through that part of Washington on the way back to Canada as I hightailed it out of the US several years ago. We did a video where we did a family road trip. A couple things about I want to, and I know a lot of you guys are getting tired, so I will cap off this live stream very, very quickly here, but I wanted to touch base about the lack of shower in the pool house. I see that comment pop in every so often. The concrete pad was already poured by somebody else who had a completely different design for a completely different building. And I did my best to try and wiggle and move walls around and do stuff to make a somewhat functioning space that unfortunately could not include a shower because of where the drains were located. It would have meant that I wouldn't have had a sorting space on the other side, that where my garage area is, there would be a shower right in the middle of the floor because that's where they had intended the shower to go, was over there. So that's why there's no shower, is because I had to do a new floor plan over top of somebody else's floor plan, and I had to make a sacrifice. The thoughts about not putting a shower in were, well, our house is right here, so if people are staying over, they can just walk over and have a shower. It's not the end of the world. It was more important that I had that space for sorting and storing stuff in than it was to have a shower in the middle of the room. The other thing is, when you see me doing videos sometimes, we are going on, it's two reasons. Somebody said, why can't you just go to like Hawaii, or why can't you just go to Denver and just enjoy time with your family and not do a video? Well, the videos are what pays for these trips. And so sometimes if we do a trip to Hawaii, my family is all aware that 90% of the time is gonna be vacation, but there is gonna be 10% of the time where there's gonna have to be dad shooting some videos, because that is what we do. Same thing when I go to Colorado. It was actually the opposite this last time, is that I was with Alyssa and Peter and Dorian and Heather, and Alyssa and Peter like, you can do a video if you want. 'Cause I'm like, no, I just want to be here in this moment as a normal uncle, as a normal brother right now, and I don't want to feel like I'm just on all the time. I said, don't worry, I'll do videos when I'm here, but I'll go off and I'll film on my own and do that, because I want to be more just there for the family when I need to be there for the family. But I'll scoot off for like a day on my own and I'll go and shoot videos. So for those people that were saying, it's a shame that you do these videos when your family's trying to have a vacation, we go into this knowing that that's the deal. So my kids are cool with it, trust me. Yeah, that's come up often enough now, and I've had emails to people. The people get very upset about funny things. Yeah, anyway, that is what helps to pay the bills around here. So Jim Gerlinski says normal. Yeah, well, I wouldn't say I was normal even before I had a YouTube channel. So, even prior to all this, I've always been into old cars, and I've always been somebody who had weird, trinkety, odd treasures that I found in random places. Yeah. Oh, thank you very much. I just had a super chat sent, but unfortunately I can't read who it's from, but thank you so much for that. Yeah. So, guys, gosh, I don't know if there's any final questions here. It's been a little over an hour that we've been chatting for now. Let's see. It takes hard work to get to where you are. It takes hard work to do anything, it seems. And anytime you feel that you're doing well, there's always somebody who's doing slightly better. So, I am incredibly grateful for what I've said this throughout this chat today, but trust me, it feels like a dream, and it feels some days, I actually get anxiety because I feel like it's just gonna disappear like that. And if it does, then I will have had the experience, and I will have had fun, and I will have had my kids going to school and had money set aside for university, and we'll just start all over again. But I'm still, anybody that you meet who's somewhat successful, and since buying a project Ferrari and then fixing it up, and then I joined the Ferrari club, you meet other people. This is some insight that I didn't have 8-9 years ago that I have now, is that many of the people who are driving these really fancy, expensive cars have all come from some sort of background where they've had to struggle, climb, get to where they're at. And sometimes they look at these things as investments. Sometimes it's just like, you know what? I struggled that's their thought, is that they struggled for a very, very long time being completely normal people, and they broke through and did something successful. Some people own patents to things, or invented something, or owned a business that took off. And so they bought themselves a nice car. And so when I would see a really fancy car go by, I go, must be nice. But actually, it must be nice because they worked really hard. And so I begrudge nobody who's doing well for themselves, because I've had a chance to meet a lot of very successful people in the last few years, and they have all done very well because they've worked really hard. And a lot of them have really strong ethics, very strong family values. Honestly, some of the best people I've met, some of the nicest people I met were in the Rolls-Royce Club. Those are great guys. You guys saw the video I did with Howard? He's a super nice guy. They're all really nice people. And I'm happy to have them in my lives. And you start talking to them, and they're, one guy invented a way to convert magnesium 2 into magnesium 1. I don't even understand what he did. And he invented welding machines. But he was a normal dude, had an idea, figured it out, made a pile of money, and has some cool cars and stuff. Good for him. If I decide to invent a different type of wheel, I'm gonna go out and have some fun. And so I'm kind of at the stage where I had I was a retail store manager or district manager later on. I have a few old cars. That's kind of the thing. But anyway, I hope that you all do these things in your life that make you feel happy. And I hope you all feel that you're very capable of doing whatever you want to do in life. And I remember going back to grade 7, and I had he was a career and life management teacher, and I won't say his name. Somebody actually came to my store and they said, oh, I actually taught with him. I'm surprised he said that, but he said it. He told me that I would never do better than my parents, that we'd always stay in poverty because people who come from that family situation are never able to do better for themselves. And so at grade 7, that's what I'm told, right? And now, if I went back to him now, he'd probably would say, well, see, if I hadn't told you that, I wouldn't have sparked the fire in you to try and do better for yourself. That's BS. I don't buy it. That's something you should never tell a kid. I believe that what you should tell your kids is that anything is possible. That if you set your mind to a goal, like when my daughter said the other day, she wants a Porsche 911 GTR in Maizen blue. Very specific, very expensive car. What is it? 992 Porsche. She just corrected me. She really has a goal in mind. But I said, stick that on your list. It's not a no. She probably has Abigail has depleted her funds buying Abigail shoes. So she's probably down to $20 or something right now until she does chores and she'll get allowance. But so I'm just saying that buying that car for Abigail is not really on the list right today, but it might be down the road. And so you put that on your list and you think, well, what's it going to take to get there? Good paying job, strong work ethic, all these things that lead you in that direction. And whatever step Abigail takes tomorrow might be that step that takes her in that direction to get to where she wants to go. And so I think that when you're in grade 7 and you have that teacher who tells you that, you're probably not going to amount to much. And it was weird because he asked for like my parent. He asked all the kids to go home and ask your parents what they made. And when you presented it, that's when he decided to give you like it's like he was Nostradamus or something. He's like, or more so Johnny Carson with that big genie hat for telling your future for you. It was, who is going to be broke on the side of the road? Why, it's you. I think that people need to be inspired more. I think the world needs inspiration. I think that young kids need to know that you can aim really high, but if you don't want to be let down, because there's many letdowns in life, that the best thing you can learn is perseverance. And so much about what they teach kids in school right now is to follow a program and to follow the rules and to do as you're told. And that is important, but it's more important to learn to overcome obstacles. And I feel that the more the value of school is to overcome challenges and to learn to socialize and learn to deal with challenging situations with people and learn to form relationships. Those are things that really school sets you up for life for success. I know many people who were incredibly smart in school that did not amount to too much because they thought that that's all you needed. But I think that more kids now than ever need to know that things are possible if you have a plan in place, if you believe in yourself. Not just believe in yourself, but know that if you stumble, you can get back up again and you can keep on going. I feel like these are all cliched, but anyway, I just hope that my kids more than anything understand. Like here's the thing that they say, that if you tell your kid, like if you tell your daughter, oh, you're such a pretty girl. Well, that's not really telling them much of anything. You're complimenting on the way they look. That doesn't give them. If you say you're smart, well, that's good, but in what way? But if you tell them, if Abigail, I don't know why I'm picking on her, but if she didn't do well on tests, but she did her very best and she went back and learned what she did wrong, I would be more inclined to tell her, I'm so proud of you for persevering, that you were able to overcome that you were able to dig in and find out what was wrong and fix it. Those are the skills that move you forward in life, more so than just saying you're smart or you're pretty or you're handsome or whatever it might be. I don't know how I even got on this topic at all, but anyway, I guess I was talking about overcoming those obstacles, and as a young kid, that feeling of, I guess, hopelessness at grade 7, thinking this is it for me. I'm continue moving around and maybe being homeless from time to time. And oh, teach Abby to save up. Here's $25 towards her car. Okay, great. Now I owe her money. Thank you. And your name is the King Troll. However, that was a very sweet gesture. You must be one of those misunderstood trolls that we should all get to know and love. Thank you for that. Abigail, somebody just sent you $25 for your car, so there you go. But guys, on that note, I know that some people watching right now, the thing is, when people are watching this channel, there's people at different stages in life. Some are incredibly successful. Some are very lonely. Some are very content. There's people all over the spectrum watching this channel. And there's no specific way to heal any number of people at any time. All I can do is share, I guess, my life experience and hope that something sticks for you. But I've been in those situations where I felt completely hopeless. And I've been in those situations where I felt that I didn't know what was going to happen the day after tomorrow or where the next paycheck was going to come from. And I think the only thing that got me through was that waking up, making my bed and thinking, what can I do to be productive this day? And I'm really good with lists. If I make myself a checklist, I'm good. I can get stuff done. And so make yourself goals and make yourself lists and have things to look forward to, because the minute you stop having things to look forward to, you can fall into a deep depression. And you can start feeling like you lack motivation. You know, if you're sitting on your couch and there's dirty dishes that have been sitting there for days, that's likely a form of depression. It's preventing you from getting up and getting that done. There was a movie called Limitless. Did you guys ever see that? And I saw this clip and they were talking about the movie Limitless, where he basically takes this pill that makes his mind work really active. And the first thing he did wasn't, he didn't go out and he didn't invest a bunch of money or anything. The first thing he did is when he had the power of accessing the full power of his brain, he cleaned his apartment. That's what he did. And I think about that sometimes, you know, that that costs you nothing. So many things that can improve your life cost you absolutely nothing. And I will finish with this little story that when I was managing a department store, the staff in the store were convinced that we should have fresh carpeting put in, because the carpet in the store was from the 1970s and it wasn't really all that hot. And so they would do things like, well, what's the point of making this display look nice or folding the clothes nice if we don't have nice carpet? And I remember having a team meeting, and I said, you know, what's going to make them invest in us if we can't show that we can work with the tools we have? And so we basically just went through the store, made it as perfect as possible with what we had, and after that year, we got our new carpet. But it was after we made our displays look nice and made our mannequins look great, and we had every teacup with every handle facing the right direction and made the store look fantastic. But I think that goes with anything. But anyway, I'm not meaning to be judgy, and I'm so sorry if it comes across that way. I'm not meaning to do that. I hope that, you know, it's worthwhile if one person sees any kind of benefit from anything that I might say sometimes. But guys, I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to go visit with the kids for a bit before they go to bed. And I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for staying along with me for so long today. And it was nice to chat with you guys today. I'm going to go deliver Abigail some money. Thank you to King Troll for that. And you guys have a fantastic evening. We'll see you guys soon. And as always, lots of videos coming out too, by the way. Stay tuned for those. Bye, everybody. Bye, guys.